Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating, the hidden architecture of clutter. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by your own space, well, you're about to discover that your mind isn't actually working against you. In fact, it's using those physical objects to shield you from unseen deep-rooted stress. We're going to peel back the layers on why we keep what we keep and how it all connects to a profound everyday need for safety. Okay, let's start with a feeling pretty much all of us have had, right? Picture this. You're staring at the dreaded junk drawer, or maybe a pile of old magazines, a broken trinket, or that one box of clothes that honestly hasn't fit you in a decade. But when you try to toss them, you feel this heavy, almost magnetic resistance. Maybe even a sudden flash of panic at the thought of the trash can. It's an incredibly common experience, yet it's one we completely misunderstand. You see, society loves to mislabel this behavior. From the outside, it just looks like laziness, or maybe people think you're just being a bit of a pack rat. But psychology reveals something so much deeper. This isn't just a mess. Your brain is literally using these objects as an umbrella in an unpredictable world. It's a mechanism for brain safety, a way to hold on to stability when everything else feels chaotic. It's a real game changer when you pivot from judging your habits to actually understanding your protective instincts. Now, psychologists actually have a term for these everyday items: physical anchors. They're emotional reminders that help your brain feel grounded and connected to its past identity. Think about it like this. When the world outside shifts without any warning, these tangible objects stay exactly as they are. They give your mind a physical tether to something safe and familiar. It's basically your brain's way of saying, hey, I know who I am because I still have this piece of my history. Moving into Section 1, Control and Sensory Overload. Let's take a look at the first hidden drivers. So imagine life just feels totally messy and unpredictable. Say you feel like you're losing your grip on your career or a relationship. When that happens, your brain desperately seeks mastery over something, literally anything. Just like some people compulsively clean to feel grounded, others hold on to physical items to create a stable environment. Your brain turns these objects into rehearsed real-life scenarios, keeping you prepared for every possible what-if life might throw your way. If the outside world is out of control, this internal physical world is one you can absolutely dictate.
But what happens when you have a brain that's just, well, too aware? If you have heightened sensory processing, your brain doesn't just filter out information like everyone else's. You are constantly absorbing your surroundings. Because of that, physical clutter is processed as this constant low-level tension. It's kind of like having a radio quietly playing annoying static in the background all day long.
For those of us who notice every small detail, every shift in tone, and every microexpression, a visual pile isn't just an eyesore. It is a massive source of hidden stress. There's a great saying for this. Every item in that pile represents an unfinished task. It aggressively drains your mental energy. It creates a tension that makes a genuine sense of calm completely impossible to reach, because your environment is constantly shouting a to-do list at you. All right, on to Section 2, Emotional Gaps and Failure. Let's talk about the hidden fear of failure. Holding on to those unused hobby supplies or half-started projects, that keeps your dream perfect and possible. As long as you have the supplies, you are protecting your potential. It serves as a shield against the really uncomfortable, slow reality of actually putting in the effort. Your brain stays attached to the fantasy of who you could be, mostly because that idea feels vastly safer and honestly more rewarding than facing the messy reality of starting right now. And this leads us right into how we use objects to fill emotional gaps. Keeping a totally meaningless gift from someone you haven't spoken to in years acts as a vital anchor to a time when you actually felt valued. Psychology shows us that when emotional needs aren't met in real life, like say you grew up in a really critical environment, perhaps as what therapists call a scapegoat child, your brain uses objects to artificially create those missing feelings of love or validation. That random item anchors you to a rare, precious moment when you felt like you were truly enough. Which brings us to Section 3, your survival shield. If you're an overthinker, someone who overanalyzes social interactions or endlessly replays conversations in your head fearing rejection, your physical space probably reflects that internal anxiety perfectly. Your brain desperately holds on to receipts, old letters, or random souvenirs to prove your story. It gets stuck in this anxious loop, constantly asking, what if I need to explain this later? It's a defense mechanism against being doubted. All these accumulated items, they form a literal survival shield. You're keeping physical evidence to close the gaps in your history. It is a brilliant, if exhausting, protective measure. You're just trying to ensure you have the proof you need so that you never have to feel dismissed, rejected, or unheard ever again. That clutter isn't garbage to you. It's your personal archive of evidence that your feelings and your experiences were real. Finally, let's head into section 4, finding safety in letting go. When we look back at these 5 hidden drivers, seeking control, sensory overload, filling emotional gaps, fear of failure, and proving your story, something pretty amazing clicks into place. Your mind isn't working against you. It isn't being lazy. It is simply trying to protect your energy and your identity based on past traumas. These objects have literally been doing heavy emotional lifting for you. Once you realize this accumulation is a deeply logical protective coping mechanism and not some personal failure or lack of willpower, you can change your perspective entirely. Actually, let's be really clear here. Clutter is not a character flaw. It is a signal for safety. And understanding that is what allows you to finally begin the genuine healing process of letting go without the panic. Because, the real goal of letting go isn't just chucking physical objects into a trash bin. That's just the surface stuff. True organization is about bravely releasing the underlying heavy stress that those items represent. It's about finally untangling your emotional needs from your physical anchors and realizing you are completely safe even without them. So, as you look around your space today, I want you to consider the protective inner logic behind your own physical anchors. Ask yourself, what hidden stress are you truly ready to let go of? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to look at your surroundings today with a completely new empathetic lens.